So Halloween month is almost over, and the final October episode of Button Smash takes us to Raccoon City, a small Midwestern city controlled by the evil Umbrella Corporation. The original Resident Evil took us into the Spencer Mansion and the nearby mountains, where Umbrella was hiding an underground laboratory that was used to develop the T-Virus, a biological weapon capable of turning any living creature into hideous monsters. Humans die, then reanimate as flesh-eating zombies. Animals become extremely aggressive. And some of them even grow to impossible sizes. Resident Evil was so massively popular that a sequel was guaranteed. Resident Evil 2 took everything that Resident Evil introduced to us and increased the stakes drastically. Instead of going through a mansion where the T-Virus leaked, the entire city has been infected. Zombies and a bunch of other monsters that Umbrella manufactured roam the streets. Instead of just having the T-Virus, we're also introduced to the even more powerful G-Virus, which creates monsters that can constantly evolve the more they're injured. The G-Virus is also the entire reason this new infection even spread. One of Umbrella's scientists, William Birkin, secretly developed the new virus in his underground lab, and Umbrella sent in their security force to confiscate it from him. But after being shot, he injected himself with the G-Virus, becoming a mindless creature that slowly mutated into more monstrous forms. And serves as the final boss of the game. During that initial gunfight, the T-Virus leaked and rats in the sewers helped spread it around the city, creating the outbreak. And you once again have the choice of playing as two characters who are trying to survive the horror. Leon S. Kennedy, who just got hired as a police officer in Raccoon City, and the T-Virus outbreak happens as his first day on the job begins. He also runs into Claire Redfield, who's looking for her brother Chris, star of the original Resident Evil game. Leon and Claire team up together and get separated in a car crash just a few moments later. And you really want to go through the game as both characters too. If you only play through as one character, you only really experience half of the game. Depending on who you choose to play as first, the details of the story go a little differently. On your first playthrough, known as Scenario A, you have to explore the city and find a way to escape. You visit places like the Raccoon City Police Department, which has seen better days. It's completely overrun and the police force is completely decimated. The underground sewers, and eventually you do end up at another secret Umbrella facility. On your second playthrough, known as Scenario B, you play from the other character's point of view, making your way through the same places, but some of the events from A can help or hurt you in B. For example, if you take the machine gun from this room in Scenario A, you're not going to find it here in Scenario B, since you've already collected it, as the other character. And the story's slightly different, and much more complete too, with Leon and Claire meeting up by the end of the game, then escaping on a high-speed train and destroying the facility. And after you beat the game, it does give you a grade depending on how quickly you beat it, and how many times you save the game. And it's insanely replayable. You can unlock all kinds of bonuses depending on which version of Resident Evil 2 you're playing, like an extreme battle mode, or even the tofu scenario where you play as Tofu, a character made out of tofu. And the biggest difference between Scenario A and Scenario B is Mr. X. This bastard is terrifying, and he only shows up in your second playthrough. He's this huge, unstoppable force that suddenly bursts through walls, scaring the shit out of you, and constantly stalking you throughout the entire game. And you can put him down temporarily with enough firepower, but he always comes back, until the very end of the game when you fight his final form, in an epic battle that ends with an extremely cheesy line.
You lose, big guy.
You also meet different characters based on who you choose to play as. Leon meets the mysterious Ada Wong, who claims to be searching for her boyfriend, but secretly she's got her own agenda. And Claire has the job of protecting young Sherry Birkin, the daughter of William Birkin, and later starring in Resident Evil 6 as an adult. I've always considered the Resident Evil series one of the juggernauts of the video game industry. And when it first came out, it hit the PlayStation hard. It was saying, this is how you make a survival horror video game. And by now, we've had countless sequels, side stories, spin-offs, but it has changed so much. Resident Evil 2 is my favorite Resident Evil game, and to me, it's the highlight of the entire franchise. And honestly, if you've only played Resident Evil 4 and above, you have not experienced Resident Evil. The new games are lacking that unsettling atmosphere that the old ones had. I mean, just listen to some of the ambient music that helps set the mood. I promise you won't find that in the new games. And another big staple of the series that's kind of gone away are the jump scares. That moment when you're walking around minding your own business and suddenly... Resident Evil 2 was such a stressful game to get through, for a couple of reasons. Now let's use Resident Evil 6 as an example. The series has turned into an action-packed shooter, and with this, a lot of the tension that made Resident Evil such a memorable experience has gone away. Ammo is everywhere. You can walk around and unload machine guns on hordes of enemies without ever having to worry. You'll find plenty of ammo right around the corner, and this wasn't always the case. Classic Resident Evil is a game about survival. You're forced to manage your items and conserve your ammo whenever possible. If there's a room with zombies in it, the best thing to do is to try to find a way around them without firing a shot. If there's no way to avoid a fight, only gun down the monsters you need to get around them. And if you decide to unload your handgun in a room full of zombies, you can easily go from 80 bullets to half of that in just a couple of seconds. If you run out of ammo, you're screwed until you find some more. So it's important to know when to shoot, when to run, and what weapons to use. It's okay to use your handgun for zombies, but when you run into more powerful enemies later in the game, instead of whipping out the handgun and wasting a ton of bullets, a shotgun or grenade launcher will take up less ammo and cause more damage. And you only have a very limited number of items that you can carry at a time. And it's important to remember too to leave slots open for extras like keys or healing items. If your inventory is full, you have to run all the way back to a storage box and put some stuff away. And there's plenty of items that you need to solve puzzles. And I always thought the puzzles were kind of funny because they make absolutely no sense in a real-world setting. For example, to open some locked doors, you need a special key. To find the key, first you have to find a medal that slides into the statue in the main area. Then, the statue moves and the key falls out of it. Who is the asshole that climbed the statue, hid the key in it, then hid the medal needed to get this key, sending whoever just wanted to open a locked door on a hunt all over the station? I'm well aware that this is a fictional video game, and I'm clearly overthinking this, so I'll let it slide. But yes, Resident Evil is known to have these cryptic puzzles. Having to manage all your items and making sure you are fully stocked on ammo at all times made for such a nerve-wracking experience. I can't even begin to count how many times I was going down a hallway low on health and low on ammo, praying that there would not be a monster in the next room waiting to kill me. If you get killed, you will get a game over screen rubbing it in your face, and you better hope you saved your game too. There are no checkpoints in Resident Evil 2. That's right, those checkpoints that let today's kids mess up every 2 seconds and everything is forgiven. Don't worry, you're coming back to life right where you died. No. If you never save your game in Resident Evil 2 and you die, there's no slap on the wrist. You go back to the title screen. To save the game, you need to go to a typewriter and use an ink ribbon, another item that you have to make sure you don't overuse. And every time you save, you use one ink ribbon. And if you run out of ink ribbons, you can't save until you find more. And there's something you have to be really careful with when you're playing through this game. And any old school Resident Evil player has experienced this. If they haven't, they're lying. You haven't saved your game in a long time. But you know what? You've got plenty of ammo, you're at full health, you're good. I've got plenty of ammo, full health. You know what? I'll save next time. I'm gonna save my ink ribbons and I'll save at the next typewriter. Oh no, please. Oh no, please. Oh no, please, 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 please. No, please, please, please. Don't get cocky. You save regularly, but not enough to where you run out of ink ribbons. Not everything you fight are easy, slow-paced zombies either, so it's important to be ready for anything. Aside from zombies, some of the other creatures that you run into are zombie dogs that charge at you and drain your health pretty fast if you don't kill them quickly. Giant disgusting spiders that can poison you by spitting venom at you. Lickers, fast moving monsters that can whip their tongue at you and slash you with their claws. And living plants that can take you out in seconds if you get too close. And a moth that comes right out of a nightmare and spawns little caterpillars that harass you. Without being constantly prepared, any one of these things can send you right to the game over screen. If you haven't played Resident Evil 2 yet, you're really missing out on a true classic. Go get it on PS1, GameCube, PlayStation Store on the PS3, whatever. It's available on a bunch of platforms. And it's an awesome experience no matter what you play it on. But if you just can't get your hands on it for whatever reason, Capcom is actually working on a full-blown next-gen remaster that can't come soon enough. Definitely something to be excited about. I hope you guys have enjoyed the October content on this channel, and Halloween is right around the corner too. So if you decide to go trick-or-treating or drinking, whatever you decide to do, stay safe out there, and I'll see you guys next week. If you enjoyed this review, make sure you hit that like button for me and leave me a comment down below. What's your favorite Resident Evil game? And don't forget to subscribe if you haven't already for more outstanding content. And make sure you like the official GamerThumbTV Facebook page. This is Fabian, love you guys, and I'm out of here.